Good morning, first graders. Today is Monday, and we are going to start our Monday with a reading lesson. Let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, so we're going to start our Monday with a morning greeting. You have the choice between a high five, a fist bump, a hug, a handshake, or just to say hello. So go ahead and take 5 seconds to make your choice. When I say go, you're going to do your morning greeting through the computer. Go. Good morning, boys and girls. Alrighty, let's check in and talk about how we're feeling today. On the mood meter, you can be red, yellow, green, or blue. I want you to put your hand on your head and think, how are you feeling today? When I say go, you're going to point to where you're feeling. Go. Miss Winkler pointed to yellow because she is super duper happy to be teaching you again today. Alrighty, friends, remember, this is our second week of online learning, but we have the same rules that we do in the classroom. We do it right or very good. All right, let's read our morning message. I read, then you read. Good morning, friends. Today is Monday, April 20th, 2020. Today we will be reading another fairy tale. What is your favorite fairy tale? Mine is Cinderella. Let's have a great day. Love, Miss Winkler. All right, boys and girls, Miss Winkler said her favorite fairy tale was Cinderella. I want you to put your hand on your head and think, what is your favorite fairy tale? When you have an idea, yell it at the computer. Go. Alrighty. Let's talk about our schedule for the day. Remember, you should have already ate breakfast so that your brain has fuel to think. You checked your Canvas announcements. If you're in Team 1, you've already met with me for your small group. Then you're watching a reading video today. You're going to take a break for lunch and specials. And then this afternoon, if you're in Teams 2, 3, and 4, you're going to get to meet with me. The last thing you need to do is get on Pathblazer for a little bit. All right, let's talk about what we're learning today. We are going to read a story. We read Hansel and Gretel Part 1 on Friday, and we're going to read Hansel and Gretel Part 2 today. Then you're going to take your writing pad and you're going to get to write a sentence all about what happens in Hansel and Gretel. Let's read our I can statement so you know exactly what you're listening for in Hansel and Gretel. I read, you read. I can determine if Hansel and Gretel are evil or good. I can describe how the story ends. So you're listening for 2 things. You got to decide if Hansel and Gretel are evil or good. And then you've got to figure out how the story ends. All right, remember, when we left them off in the woods last time, they'd gotten lost for the second time. This time, Hansel had thought it'd been a good idea to leave breadcrumbs, but birds started eating his breadcrumbs and he didn't know how to get out. So they're stuck in the woods for the second time, and now they're getting scared, and they're trying to figure out what to do. We're going to read to find out exactly what happens. It is now the 3rd morning since they had left their father's house. They started along again, always looking for the way home, but instead only going deeper into the forest. Unless help came soon, they would surely starve. At about noon, they saw a pretty snow-white bird sitting on a branch and singing so beautifully that they stopped to listen. Then the bird spread its wings and flew before them, as though to say, "Follow me!" And so the children followed the bird until they came to a little house. The bird flew upon and perched on the roof. Boys and girls, perched means sit. And then the children saw the walls of the house were made of gingerbread, and the roof was made of cake, and the windows were made of clear sugar candy. "Let's eat," cried Hansel. Hansel reached up and broke off a piece of candy, while Gretel chewed on a piece of the wall. Boys and girls, is it okay to take things that aren't yours, even if they look yummy? Give me a thumbs up for yes. Give me a thumbs down for no. Oh, I see lots of friends saying no. Very good. I know Hansel and Gretel are hungry, but they still have to ask for permission. Just like with my Skittles. You might be hungry in the morning when it's time to pass out Skittles, but you have to ask for permission. You don't just get to take. Suddenly they heard a thin, screechy voice call out from inside the house. Nibble, nibble like a mouse. Who is nibbling at my house? The children answered, It's only the air heaving a sigh. It's only the wind passing by. The children were so hungry that they went on eating. But then the door opened, and the woman came out, leaning on a cane. Hansel and Gretel were so frightened that they dropped the food from their hands. But the old woman nodded her head and said, My dear little children, what has brought you here? Come inside and stay with me. I'll take good care of you. Boys and girls, now they've eaten food without permission. Now they're going inside a stranger's home. Are they making smart first grade choices? You never go in homes where you don't know who the person is. So she took them by the hand and led them into her little house. There they found a wonderful meal of hot pancakes with honey, nuts, apples, and cold milk. After that, the old woman showed them 2 little white beds, and Hansel and Gretel laid down and wondered if they were just dreaming. Now the old woman seemed kind, but in fact she was a wicked witch. Wicked means evil. The story goes that she built her house just to trap little children, and when she had them, she would cook them and she would eat them. She could not see well, but she had excellent sense of smell. Earlier in the day, she had sniffed Hansel and Gretel coming near. The next morning, before the children were awake, the witch got up and looked at their rosy cheeks. What a fine meal I have, she cackled. Cackled means to laugh. She got Hansel out of bed and put him in a cage. Then she went back and woke up Gretel and shouted, Get up, you lazy bones. Fetch water and cook something nice for your brother. Feed him well, for once he's nice and fat, I will eat them. Uh-oh, she's not the nice person they thought she was. Gretel screamed and cried, but it was no use. She had to do what the wicked witch said. Day after day, she cooked pots full of rich food for Hansel, while she herself ate nothing but crumbs. Every morning, the wicked witch would creep to the cage and say, Hansel, stick out your fingers so I can tell if you're plump enough to cook. But clever Hansel held out a little bone that Gretel had given him, and the old woman, who could not see very well, couldn't tell that it wasn't Hansel's finger. She wondered why he wasn't getting any plumper. When 4 weeks had passed, everyone showed me 4. Hansel seemed thin as ever, and the witch grew impatient. Hurry up and get a pot of water, she snarled. Be he fat or thin, I'm going to cook him and eat him. And as she filled the kettle with water and lit the fire, tears ran down Gretel's cheeks. First we will bake, said the old woman. I've heated the oven and the dough is ready. Then she pushed Gretel toward the oven where the flames were burning brightly. Stick your head in, the witch said to Gretel, and tell me if it's hot enough for us to bake the bread. But Gretel knew what the witch had in mind. She knew that the witch meant to shut her in the oven, bake her, and eat her. So Gretel said, I don't know how to do it. Where do I look? Could you show me how? You silly child, cried the woman. There's a big opening, don't you see? Why, I could fit in myself. And she stuck her head in the oven. Then Gretel rushed up, and with all her might she pushed the witch into the oven. She shut the iron door and locked it tight. Gretel ran right to Hansel and let him out of the cage. Everyone say, good job, Gretel. Come, Hansel, we're free, she cried. The old witch is gone. How do you think you would feel if you were Hansel and you've been trapped in that cage for lots and lots of weeks, and now you're free? When you have an idea, tell your computer. Oh, I hear friends saying they would feel really, really happy to be free. I hear friends saying that they would be relieved. I hear friends saying that they would be overjoyed. Let's figure out what happens next. Hansel sprang out and hugged Gretel, and then the children danced for joy, and then they ran out of the house. Then, because they had nothing to fear, they went back into the witch's house. There they found chests full of pearls and precious jewels. These are better than pebbles, laughed Hansel, and he filled his pockets, while Gretel filled her apron. Now away we go, said Hansel. Then he said quietly, if only we can find our way out of the forest. Give me a thumbs up if you think they're going to find their way out. Give me a thumbs down if you think they're still going to be lost. Most of my friends think they're going to find their way out of the forest. Let's see if that happens. When they had walked a few hours, they came to a wide lake. There's no bridge and no stepping stones, said Hansel. We can't get across. There's no boat either, said Gretel. But look, she said, here comes a duck. I'll ask her for help. So she called out, repeat after me. Duck, duck, here we stand. Hansel and Gretel on the land. Stepping stones and a bridge we lack. Carry us over your nice soft back. And lo and behold, the duck came over. Hansel got on her back and told Gretel to sit behind him. Thank you for helping me read, friends. When they were on the other side of the lake, they walked on for a little while and soon found a path. The forest began to look more and more familiar, and at last, in the distance, they saw their father's house. They began to run as fast as they could. They burst through the door and cried out, Father, we're home, and then threw themselves into his arms. Ever since he had left the children in the forest, the man had been worried sick. As for his mean wife, he told the children she was gone. Now he hugged his children as though he would never let them go. As he squeezed Gretel to him, the pearls and jewels fell out of Gretel's apron. Hansel reached into the pockets and pulled out a handful after handful of treasure. They together were again. Their troubles were over, and they lived in perfect happiness for a long, long time. The end. All right, friends, our word for today is creep. You can see this polar bear creeping along. Show me your best creeping movement. Creep means to walk slowly. All right, the last thing we're going to do today is our writing activity. When I say go, you need to get your writing pad, pencil, and crayons. Go. All right, friends, now that you're back, you need to open to a brand new page. You need to write your name and date at the top. Today's date is 4-20-20. If you need more time, you're going to pause this video so that you can write your name and date. All right, now let's read our sentence stem that you're copying down today. In Hansel and Gretel. Blank. After you copy down this, you need to finish the sentence. Now, you know if you can write more than one sentence. Then, after you finish your writing, you're going to draw a picture. So repeat after me. Step 1, name and date. Step 2, copy down the sentence. Step 3, finish the sentence. Step 4, write another sentence if you can. Step 5, draw a picture. And when you finished your hard work, you need to text a picture to Miss Winkler so I can see it. I love you all so much, and I will see you in your small group today. Work hard, and I can't wait to see your work. Bye, friends.